now, and it's not about MS anymore. It's about just working out in this community and being a part of the community. And you can go there, you come to MS Forward and everybody gets it. You can talk to everybody about it. But that's, I think, my spin, if you will, on my disease has changed to a more positive thing, just because I've been able to be a part of MS Forward Gym. And it's not just a gym, I just can't say it enough, it's a community. It's really a community.
It's murder, go crazy, berserker.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
In tonight, 6 markers behind Kyle Zimmer, so he's definitely going to be looking for that top-notch performance in that number 4 truck. You're going to be able to see him a nice bright green on the front of that machine tonight. And Tom Johnson, he will also ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 3 Wide TV for tonight's broadcast of the MS Ford Truck Series for the penultimate race of the season and the last round to book your ticket into the season finale next week, the championship round at Homestead, Miami. Phoenix is one of the hottest tracks for action on the SimPossible MS4 Truck Series schedule, just over a mile long. It races like a short track, lots of close side-by-side action. Here we are on 3Y TV. I am Peter Short, and as always, Carlos Acosta is manning the cameras. And my partner in crime, Cameron Rich, not here tonight. He's traveling back from vacation. Both Cameron and I were able to spend some time together at the IndyCar race at Circuit of the Americas yesterday. Definitely had a lot of fun, but we're definitely going to bring you live flag-to-flag coverage of this race tonight. And my, oh my, it is an important race for 6 drivers. Dave Wilson in the number 20. Currently, he has punched his ticket into the championship round with a win last week at Martinsville. But for AJ Digby, Kevin Cochran, Kyle Zimmer, Nate Catilla, and Tom Johnson, they're trying to book themselves into the championship round next week. AJ Digby only sitting second in points, 5 markers off of Wilson, and quite a few markers ahead of Nate Catilla. Nate Catilla is in 5th. He's the first man currently sitting outside the top 4. Nate Catilla in the number 4 bright green machine tonight. You will see him out there. There he is. He's looking for a good run to see if he can break into the top 4. Tom Johnson also on the outside looking in. And for Tom Johnson, he's currently sitting 15 markers behind Kyle Zimmer in the number 25 machine, who comes into tonight's race on the bubble. Tom Johnson definitely going to have a stellar night to see if he can book that ticket into the championship round. Well, we got about 2 minutes left here in practice, and Dave Wilson, we're mentioning him. He's top of the points. He's won quite a few races this season, currently sitting up there atop the leaderboard. AJ Digby only 3/100ths of a second off in practice. Kyle Zimmer, he's the bubble man. He's currently, just under a 1/10 of a second off the pace of Dave Wilson, but definitely anything can change at a track like Phoenix because it races like a short track, and it will definitely be putting on a great show here tonight. We saw these guys in action at ISM Raceway a few weeks ago in the B car, and that race was a lot of fun to commentate, and definitely looking forward to this one tonight. Well, while practice winds down, you can see the number 80 there running around. That's Kevin Cochran. If this is your first time joining us here on 3Y TV, we welcome you. Get used to these cool looking trucks all working their way around this track. And of course, if you're new to the SimPossible Racing League, this is a league for disabled drivers. So each of these drivers that you see on the track are overcoming some form of disability, and let me tell you, they do it in the best ways possible because they put on a show each and every week. The season is winding down here for the truck drivers, but we do have on Wednesday nights the B-Car series that most of these drivers participate in, and that is just as fun as these trucks. But if this is your first time joining us, we welcome you to go back and watch some of the action they've put on this season. They've put on some great shows, Eldora. They've raced at the road course at Mosport as Nate Catilla takes out a cone. I think we're going to see that cone disappear a couple times tonight. Some of the action that they show here each and every week. But regardless of whatever track these guys go to, they definitely put on a show. Ooh, Nate Catilla caught the wall there as we finish up the practice session. Not quite sure if he just decided to put it in the fence and hit the escape button to get off track, because we will be moving over to the qualifying session here in just about 7 seconds. But my, oh my, we're really excited for this penultimate round. Definitely going to find out who can make it to Homestead next week. All these drivers, it's been a long season. We're 21 races through the season, and for each and every one of these drivers, it all comes down to this. You ride on board with Kevin Paskowicz in the number 7 machine. We'll take you around the lap of the ISM Raceway, formerly known as Phoenix International Raceway, and there is the kind of the key portion of this racetrack, the dogleg on the back stretch. But you'll notice that it's very, very flat compared to most ovals, kind of oddly shaped with that dogleg on the back stretch. It makes for a tricky race for these drivers. Definitely not the easiest racetrack to go around, with it being so flat, having a dogleg and having some oddly shaped corners. As Paskowicz, you're going to see him dive all the way down to clip that apex through the dogleg just to shorten up the track to improve that lap time just a little bit, as he's now working his way through 3 and 4. It's not a long track at a mile long. And coming out of turn number 4, we'll see Paskowicz come to the line here. He's going to be the first driver to settle lap time. Backs up his practice lap time. Only 3/1000ths of a second slower, than his practice lap time. But he's going to be a couple tenths faster than Chris Roberge and Johnny Berardi, who have now set lap times. Paskowicz in practice, he was the 4th place driver and currently sits atop the leaderboard with about 3.5 minutes left. He's going to see if he can pick it up on lap number 2. Might have scraped the wall coming out of turn number 4, but on his second lap time, he lost about 2.5 tenths of a second. There's the number 1, Thomas Wise, heading off into turn number 1. We'll have to see what Thomas Wise can do as he heads out of turn number 2, diving down that dog leg once again just to get a few extra tenths. And cutting that dog leg is definitely key to a good qualifying lap, because it does cut out a significant portion of the track. Not quite sure you're going to do that every lap in the race, because sometimes you can get a little bit loose down there. But Thomas Wise jumps to 4th place on the board in that number 1 patriotic livery. Definitely cool to see that scheme on that machine this week. He's got disabled American veterans on that Chevrolet, so give him a shout in on the YouTube channel. Make sure to say something in the chat. Give us a thumbs up, give us a like, give us a follow if that's what you intend on doing. There's the number 14, AJ Digby, coming in tonight 2nd place in points, trying to keep that momentum going. Had a good run at Martinsville in that number 14 Zulu Motorsport Chevrolet. He's going to hug that yellow line through turns number 1 and 2, going through the well, not really the tri-oval, the dog leg on the backstretch. It is kind of shaped like a tri-oval, but a tri-oval in reverse, since the tri portion being on the backstretch. Good to go through turns number 3 and 4 is Digby and come to the line. Digby's going to set a pretty respectable lap time. In fact, top of the board with a 27.810. Alan Capers in the number 13, and let me tell you, if you've never seen Alan Capers race before, he is a cone hunter. If there was some kind of achievement you could unlock for killing the cone, this man would have it as he heads through turns number 1 and 2. We'll have to see. Oh, he missed it. I thought he was going to go for that cone there, because that would just be something that he would do. But he is trying to come around turns number 3 and 4 to set his first qualifying lap time in that bright purple number 13. You cannot miss that truck. And he's going to go P7 on the board currently. Coming out of the final corner, here's Kyle Zimmer. Zimmer to the top of the board. Just a few 1,000ths of a second faster than AJ Digby. Here's Fernando Matos, the number 17. He's going to set his first qualifying lap time at 28.556. That'll put Matos 9th out of the 11 qualified drivers so far. Oh, he gets a little bit loose through turns number 1 and 2, and rest in peace, cone. That cone has been swallowed up by that number 17 truck, and magically it reappears. Good old iRacing cone people. I really wouldn't want to be the replacement man at a track like this. But there is the number 24, Matthew Lesniewski, trying to go around to see if he can get his qualifying time in. We'll have to see if this is a timed lap. Oh, doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it. He's going to head down pit road. Wasn't quite sure if he was on a flying lap there, because I wasn't quite sure if he'd get to the line in time, because qualifying has ended. Kyle Zimmer in the number 25 machine, we said he needed a good night. He's currently the bubble driver coming into tonight, 4th place in points. He needs a good run, and he started pretty well by getting the pole. So that's a great start for Kyle Zimmer at this race. And we've seen Kyle Zimmer win from the pole a couple times this season. So when Kyle Zimmer starts up front, it definitely seems like he's able to back up that pace in the race. So I wouldn't be all surprised to see Kyle Zimmer in victory lane based off of his past performances from pole this season. But Kevin Paskowicz in that number 7, just behind him there in 3rd, he's definitely going to be hunting for a win tonight. Well, let's go down to the grid. We'll go through your starting lineup. A couple drivers have yet to join the track, but like we said, the number 25, Kyle Zimmer, is going to be starting on the pole, and to his outside, the number 14 of AJ Digby, not yet to appear on track, but no problem there. I'm sure he will here in just a minute. On row number 2 is the number 7, Kevin Paskowicz, and alongside him is the number 33 of Doug McCollum. Good qualifying run by that number 33 machine. On row number 3, we have the number 98, Chris Roberge. Haven't really talked about him here, but the Canadian in that number 98 machine will be looking for a great run here tonight. And alongside him, Nate Catilla. I told you earlier, Nate Catilla, he's the first man out. He's going to be looking to see if he can launch that number 4 machine, into the final 4. On row number 4, the number 32, Billy Wise. And alongside him in the bright purple number 13 is Alan Capers. On row number 5 is the number 17 of Fernando Matos, fairly new to the league, but definitely has shown some speed here week in and week out since he joined. Could be rolling off 9th, and beside him, the number 1 of Thomas Wise. And if you notice the name Billy Wise and Thomas Wise, they are related, so they'll definitely, hopefully get those Wise cars up to the front. Johnny Berardi and Dave Wilson in the next row, and Dave Wilson did not set a qualifying lap time, so he'll be starting 12th. Kevin Cochran and Eric Minch are on row number 7. Mark Dingman and Matthew Lesniewski are on the next row, and Brian Lowhead, I believe, will be starting shotgun on the field. We've seen Lowhead start shotgun of the field a couple times this year, but he definitely has the pace to get up and mix it up near the front. The pace car has dived down onto pit road with a hard left turn, going to leave the race in the hands of the number 25, Kyle Zimmer. Green flag in the air here at Phoenix at ISM Raceway. Great start by Kyle Zimmer. AJ Digby, though, not going anywhere. Man, Zimmer just dives it down into turn number 1 and 2, and he's going to get a launch cleared. Digby in 1 and 2, and here comes Kevin Paskowicz. Paskowicz looking to the inside of Digby's number 14 truck, but Digby dives it down into turn number 3. And oh man, they've got some bracing, a little bit of contact, a little bit further back. Nate Catilla in the number 4, all the way down on the apron, had to save it as they're 3 wide coming out of turn number 4, trying to avoid the number 14, or excuse me, the number 4 of Catilla. And man, we were just saying Catilla, he needs a good night here tonight. Oh, the number 1, Thomas Wise, got loose in turn number 1 and 2. And looks like Thomas Wise is going to get back going. But up at the front, they're all single file for the first. Really, the top 10 is almost single file. Fernando Matos and Kevin Cochran, just at the back of your screen there, they were side by side. They're still side by side. Pretty much all single file up at the front, with Zimmer leading over Digby. Riding on board with Matthew Lesniewski, he's racing the number 17, and Fernando Matos is going to go all the way down to the basement through the tri-oval. See if he can make that pass. Does indeed look like he has. So move that number 24 truck up into the 10th position now. Getting around Fernando Matos. And really just everyone starting find their rhythm. I feel like Phoenix is one of those tracks where you really have to find your rhythm, find your braking points, and hit it lap after lap to be consistent. And at a track like this, current track temperature 104 degrees, that's pretty hot. The tire wear at this track is usually pretty bad, so I'm sure a couple of these drivers will be out there trying to find a way to save their tires. The number 13 of Alan Capers going all below the yellow line through turn number 3 and 4 to try and find some pace. There is, every once in a while, you'll find there's some grip down there. Ooh, there isn't much grip there on that yellow line, though. Alan Capers got a little bit loose through turns number 1, 2, and then killed that cone like we said Alan Capers would. So Alan Capers proving to you that the commentator's not always wrong. Might be wrong most of the time, but up at the front, AJ Digby, man, he's hounding the back of Kyle Zimmer. So Zimmer has just a slender lead over Digby. Both of those drivers kind of trading off fastest laps from one another. About a quarter of a second currently between those two. And it looks like Digby's getting a little bit better run through the center of 3 and 4, but look at Zimmer drive up off the corner. And the line that Zimmer's running looks to probably be a little bit better conserving the tires. That late apex tends to do that at a track like Phoenix because you can overheat your rear tires pretty easily here if you just kind of wash out of the corners. You use that the throttle to turn the truck, and it can sometimes lead to issues longer in the run. But for now, Digby holding with Zimmer pretty darn close. In fact, last time by, there was only 1/1000th of a second between the top two on their lap time. They have pulled away from Paskowicz just a little bit, but further back in the pack, we have this battle. This is Lesniewski and Nicotilla trying to work his way back up in the number 4 truck after that first lap contact. He's got a little bit of left rear damage on that number 4 machine. See Lesniewski, he's going to run the high line through the dog leg, and he's going to let Catilla by. So move Nate up into the top 10 once again. And here comes the number 17 of Matos. They're pretty tight coming out of the corner, but no contact between them. This is the first side-by-side battle on the track for the 11th position. Lesniewski running the higher line through turns number 1 and 2. We saw that line work in the truck race as Kevin Cochran, rest in peace Cone, Kevin Cochran has got around Billy Wise. That was a battle for the 8th position. So just as I was saying, the only battle, side-by-side battle on the track was a little bit further back. Cochran and Billy Wise got racing with one another. In fact, the Matos-Lesniewski battle just behind, looks like that's finally sorted out and has gone Matos' way. Riding on board with Alan Capers, hitting that cone once again as he goes through the dog leg back up onto the racing surface. Alan Capers trying to find that rhythm, currently running fairly respectable lap times, less than half a tenth slower than your race leaders. In fact, Dave Wilson, that last time by, was the fastest truck on track. As we have a new race leader, I'm saying all that, AJ Digby has got around the number 25 of Kyle Zimmer, and not quite sure how that happened. Getting word that it happened out of turn number 1 about a lap and a half ago, now almost 2 laps ago. Digby just got a run underneath that number 25 machine, and now Digby to the point. As you see, these two teammates racing one another, Chris Roberge and Dave Wilson a little bit further back. And number 20 of Wilson, he started quite a ways back in the pack, not qualifying, and now he's going to jump down to the basement, get past Roberge, move the 20 of Dave Wilson into the top 5 here on lap number 12. There's still plenty of this race left, and here comes Roberge. He's looking back underneath his teammate. They're side by side down the front stretch at the line and down into turns number 1 and 2. You can see both of those drivers being pretty easy on the brakes, but Roberge clipped the inside apron there just a little bit, loosened up that number 98 machine, and that is going to let Dave Wilson get the power down, power off that corner. So moved Wilson outright into the 5th position. He's going to be trying to chase down Doug McCollum now for the 4th position. Meanwhile, up at the front, Zimmer hasn't let Digby get away from him, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one, because that number 14 truck, we've seen him really fast at points this season, but we've also seen that it seems like he has a tendency to sometimes burn off the tires just a little bit. So we'll have to keep an eye on Digby's. Oof, man, looks like he might have caught the wall there coming out of the corner. Doesn't look like there's any right side damage for that number 14 machine as he heads off through the corner. But definitely Digby is trying to give it everything he's got, because he realizes the best way to secure your shot next week at the championship is with a win here tonight, as does Kyle Zimmer. So Zimmer just behind, not trying to let that 14 get away. A little bit further back in the pack, Fernando Matos and Nate Catilla. That battle, I thought it was over there for a little bit, but Matos and Catilla, they've been trading off best laps with one another, and this time by, looks like Catilla was just about a tenth faster than Matos, but Matos tried an interesting line there through turns number 3 and 4, going below that yellow line, just trying to find some little bit of pace that the other trucks around him do not have. It's definitely something worth trying at this point in the race, trying to figure out what line works best. See him there do it again. but definitely doesn't seem to be finding anything just yet. But it'll be interesting to see how that continues on as these tires continuing to wear. We're still under green flag racing. No cautions just yet if you're just joining us on 3 Wide TV. Of course, hopefully that's not the commentator's curse. We've seen that happen this year, as all these drivers work their way around. Oh man, even Pasquich in number 7 getting a little bit loose there, just behind these two leaders, as Zimmer and Digby have almost caught the back of the field. Johnny Berardi and Thomas Wise are racing for the 15th position, just in front of your race leaders. They're just there on the front stretch, not too far in front. So we'll have to see if Digby and Zimmer can navigate this lap traffic to their benefit. Of course, we've seen passes made with lap traffic. It looks like Digby's just going to run the higher line here to see if he can get around the outside. Oh, the number 1, Thomas Wise, dives it into the corner in front of Digby. Digby had to check up there side by side for the race lead briefly. Thomas Wise scraping the wall through the corner, and he might just take the spot from Johnny Berardi, as, oh, Thomas Wise is loose again. He's sideways. The one truck sideways. We're under caution. So just as we're focusing on that, Thomas Wise might have just got into turn number 1 just a little bit too hard. Maybe that brake bias is set where the brake bias is a little bit too far aft to dive into the corner that much. But that number 1 machine went around for a half spin in turn number 2. He tried everything he could to save it, but a single car spin here will bring out the caution flag on lap number 20. See this replay here one more time, riding on board with the number 1, and it looks like it just broke loose from him on entry. He did everything he could to save it. Good job staying off that inside wall, because that would have definitely damaged the front end of that number 1 truck, but he was able to keep it off that inside wall, but wasn't able to keep it pointed straight. But nonetheless, we're under caution here with 21 laps to go, and for those Dave Wilson fans out there, that's going to let him close in on these race leaders, as I expect everyone to come down pit road here, come down, get 4 fresh tires. It's definitely a point in the race where you're going to want to get those fresh tires. Christopher Burge in the number 98 stays out, however. Interesting call. We'll see if he's just going to stay out and lead a lap, or whether he's got a strategy call up his sleeve, because we've seen him make a few strategy calls this year in that number 98 machine. Meanwhile, your race leaders, though, coming to their pit box, going to get 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles, I'm sure, at this point in the race, because the fall-off was, I wouldn't say significant, but it was enough that I would think these drivers will come down and get those 4 fresh tires. Ooh, the Kevin Pasquich, looks like he missed his pit box, had to reverse into his box. That's going to lose him a ton of time. Race, very close race off pit road. I think Digby's going to get it. We'll have to wait and see if that's what iRacing decides to do. Kind of looks like that Digby's going to stay ahead of Zimmer here, as we look at your race leader, Christopher Burge. Looks like he's going to come down with Nate Catilla in the number 4 machine. So those 2 drivers down pit road. Nate Catilla definitely needs a good showing here tonight. Had a little bit of tough luck early on. We'll have to see if he decides to get some of that damage repaired on that number 4 machine. He's got a little bit of left rear damage. We'll wait and see how that all plays out here in just about, I don't know, 30 seconds or so, as the number 4 truck has hit his pit box. In fact, oh man, looking on pit road, Christopher Burge, he missed his pit box, had to reverse a couple times, finally found his pit box. That crew goes to work on the right side of that truck. Doesn't look like Catilla's getting any of that damage fixed though, so maybe he doesn't think like it's a big deal at this present moment in time. But we're just nearing the 1/5 distance, and AJ Digby and Kyle Zimmer sharing the laps led so far. Definitely been a very good race up at the front between those two, trading the lead once, and really not letting either of them get away. Definitely showing what they're made of here tonight. Doug McCollum currently sits in 3rd. Kevin Pasquich, when I said he missed his pit box, and He's the huge loser under this caution flag. He's going to drop all the way down to the 9th position, I do believe, from 3rd. So we'll have to see if that number 7 truck can race his way back through the field as we have the 1 to go. We'll go green flag racing on lap number 25. 24 laps down once we hit the stripe this time. So just nearing that 20% race distance. And definitely these drivers have put on a good show so far. I'm going to try and see if I can get a chat here. We do have Mitch Brown from the American Sim Racing Series. Great to see him here. As pace car has dived pit road. And the race is now in the hands of AJ Digby. Kyle Zimmer to his outside. Green flag in the air here at ISM Raceway. And Digby got a pretty good jump. Kyle Zimmer says, no, I'm not going anywhere though, buddy. He dives it down off into turn number 1. Side by side for the lead coming out of turn number 2. Digby gonna go all the way down onto that dog leg, but he hasn't been able to shake the number 25 as Zimmer. Zimmer's got the nose ahead here into turn number 3. And I think that, there's contact. There's a car around in the back. Yellow flag is out. Kyle Zimmer will have the race lead, but the number 20, Dave Wilson, got some damage with the number 32 of Billy Wise. And Johnny Berardi's gone around on the front stretch. We'll have to go back and watch this replay as they went off into turn number 3. A little bit of contact between the number 32 and the 20 there. And then the number 32 sent up the racetrack. So we'll have to see if we can get another view of that one, see what instigated that spin. Riding on board with the 99 of Berardi, you see this happen in front of him. And you see the 32 of Billy Wise in the outside wall, and then all of a sudden Billy Wise came up the racetrack, clipped to the back end of that number 20 machine, and Berardi just tried to avoid the back end of that number 20 machine, and it looks like he didn't make too much contact with the outside wall, so that's at least good. And yeah, it looks like the 32 was right in front of Dave Wilson. Maybe Dave Wilson made some rear contact with the rear end of that number 32 machine, causing the number 32 to go around. So definitely a tough break for Dave Wilson. Was showing his muscle, working his way through the field, and Billy Wise was having a great showing in that number 32 machine. So those two drivers will come down pit road to get their damage repaired, I'm sure. But meanwhile, Kyle Zimmer was able to use that high line to get that race lead. So definitely impressive there by Zimmer to use the high line, the harder line to pass on to get around AJ Digby. Typically you would think the low line would be where you'd want to be, but he was able to stymie that number 14 machine down there on the inside line, and Digby just couldn't get the power down enough to get around Zimmer, and Zimmer was able to hold his nose out front when that caution inevitably waved. There's the number 80 of Kevin Cochran. Cochran currently running in the 10th position, just inside the top 10. We'll have to see. We've seen some great speed out of Kevin Cochran so far this year. Brian Lowhead in the number 66. Talked about him a little bit earlier. Started shotgun on the field tonight. Currently in the 11th position. As all these drivers cycle past the start-finish line, get into their spots. There's the number 7, Kevin Paskowicz. We were saying that he would have to overcome that tough pit stop. He's already back into the 5th position. We've seen him primarily running in the 3rd position here tonight, as rest in peace Cone. I think Doug McCollum got the Cone that time. And there's the number 20 of Dave Wilson. Got some front end damage on that Toyota Tundra from that contact with Billy Wise. Looks like he decided not to come down and get that repaired. So that's kind of an interesting call. We'll have to see how that works out for him as this race continues to go on. As all these drivers pace around, looks like the number, who was it? That was the 17 Fernando Matos. With a little bit of right front damage, it looked like. So I'm not quite sure if he picked that up in that wreck. I think he might have picked up that damage in that accident between the 20 and the 32. As the pace car lights are off, we're getting set to get the 1 to go. Yeah, I'm sure these drivers will be wanting to get back to action. and I can confirm that Fernando Matos get a piece of that caution flag from the number 32 machine who was spinning down the racetrack, I do believe. Yeah, the number 32 just got him. But pace car lights are off, the back of the field getting sorted out here. There comes the number 24, Matthew Lesniewski. He's going to have to hustle to get back to the back of the pack, but I think he's going to be able to do so fairly easily. Can say that all the trucks are back on the lead lap at this present moment in time. So that's awesome to see. 16 trucks started, 16 trucks on the lead lap. Pace car diving down onto pit road. We're going to get set to go back to green flag racing. And Kyle Zimmer trying to hold them a little bit slowly. Green flag back in the air. AJ Digby to his outside. He saw what Zimmer did last time. Maybe Digby can try a similar move, but Zimmer's going to wash up in front of that. A little bit of contact between those two. Digby is going to be down on the inside with 3 wide. Oh, 4 wide. Alan Capers in the middle. Doug McCall on the inside. Here comes Kevin Paskowitz trying to show his nose underneath the number 13 machine. They're still side by side coming out of turn number 4. Meanwhile, Kyle Zimmer's been able to jump away from that hornet's nest back behind now AJ Digby. So Zimmer definitely showing some muscle there. Alan Capers to the outside of McCollum now. Looking for that 3rd place from Capers. Going to use that dog leg. Oh, they're really tight. Turn number 3 and 4. I thought there was going to be contact between them, but they're able to keep off of each other. Really impressive there, but McCollum's going to lose all that momentum he had because he had to check up to not hit the number 13. That's going to give that 4th position to Kevin Paskowitz. And now Capers hits the apron just a little bit. That's going to open the door for Paskowitz. Capers going to use all of that dog leg down there, and he's going to stay in front of Paskowitz at least for now. Paskowitz running a little bit higher, and Doug McCollum, man, Doug McCollum was running the Dale Earnhardt Jr. line up near the wall, just barely staying off of it, and now McCollum's under fire from behind, but look at Kevin Paskowitz. Paskowitz, you just saw on the bottom right of your screen, flash by, and Paskowitz has made that pass. Up at the front, Digby has closed in on Kyle Zimmer just a little bit. Last time by, AJ Digby, fastest truck on the circuit by about a 10th. A 10th faster than Zimmer, so we'll have to see. Digby's definitely showing the pace in that number 14 Chevrolet here tonight. We'll have to see if he can kind of put everything together, because that's kind of been Digby's downside so far this season, was just putting the whole race together, beginning, middle, and end. He did get that win at Indianapolis, but so far that has been his only W this season, as Zimmer continues to lead, and they're still battling for the 3rd position. Alan Capers using that low line to try and get around Paskowitz. Paskowitz got a really good run up off the corner. That's going to keep him at least in front for a little bit. Christopher Burge has got around Doug McCollum, so moves Roberge up into 5th. Now trying to track down that number 13 machine just in front of him. And, ooh, I think Alan Capers just missed the cone that lap, so I think the cone is safe for maybe one more lap or so. Definitely Roberge showing some muscle here, showing some speed. He's going to try and use the low line, maybe a little bit of nudging up off the corner. The 13 stays off the wall. I thought he might scrape the wall there, but he didn't. Roberge going to dive it deep into turn number 1. Not quite able to make that pass. He's going to use the dog leg here to try and get a small advantage over Capers. Not quite able to do so. He cuts up in front of Capers. Oh, Roberge is really loose. Just in front of this battle a little bit further back. And Roberge and Alan Capers just not able to get away from one another. That's going to bring the 33 of Doug McCollum back into the mix. Now we're looking a little bit further back. There's Nate Catilla in the number 4 trying to get around Billy Wise. That's a battle for the 9th position. I think Catilla is going to take it here. And we were saying that Catilla needs a good night in that machine to try and pole vault himself into the top 4. So far, you know, looking at a top 10, but he's got quite a bit of damage on the rear end of that number 4 truck, probably waiting to get it fixed. As here comes McCollum. Now they're all slicing and dicing down the front stretch. Roberge trying to get underneath Capers. Oh, McCollum gets him to the back of the 13. They get sideways. McCollum saves it, but now Capers is a little bit loose up off the corner. Man, this is some hot action here at Phoenix And, oh man, look at Dave Wilson. We've been talking about him. He was involved in that last accident, trying to use that high side now to get up into the 5th position. And, oh, the 30 for Billy Wise. Oh, Matthew Lesniewski. Also hard hit for that number 24 machine. We're under a yellow flag here at Phoenix for a violent accident between the number 32 and the 24. Let's go back and watch this one on replay. And I think those two trucks, I don't think the 32 is going to be able to get back. Oh, a little bit of contact with the outside wall. And shot him into the inside wall. Shot him back up to the track. Straight in front of the 24 of Lesniewski. And unfortunately for the number 24 and the number 32, both of those trucks having to take a full tow back to pit road. That's going to be a pretty costly tow for those two machines. Definitely tough luck for Lesniewski, and really tough luck for Billy Wise. I think he was following the number 80 of Cochran oh so closely up off the corner, and sometimes you can just lose your reference point just a little bit, and sometimes it can lead to that little contact that unfortunately led him to hit the inside wall and the 24 truck. So tough break for both of those two. We were just saying not too long ago that we had all the trucks on the lead lap. Well, unfortunately with that tow, Lesniewski and Billy Wise will go one lap down, but all your leaders are on pit road as well. But they're going to come down and get 4 fresh tires. You can see Kyle Zimmer in that number 25 started on the pole here tonight, going to get his first pit box. And definitely showed that first pit box is a little bit of an advantage. Nate Catilla does stay out, and that number 4 machine gets that bonus point for leading a lap. He needs everything he can get. First truck on the outside looking in for the final 4 championship race. Everyone hits their pit box nice and smoothly. Kevin Paskowicz this time hits it nice and smoothly. There's the number 17 Fernando Matos. A little bit of right side damage. We'll wait to see who wins this race off pit road. As, oh, looks like the number 14 gets rolling first. AJ Digby, first driver off pit road. We've seen that this has kind of gone back and forth between Digby and Zimmer tonight. And looks like it will be AJ Digby's time to be out front as we are nearing the lap 50 mark, the 40% distance, about 9 or so laps away as they work their way through turn number 3 and 4. And look at that, the number 4, Nate Catilla, stays out. He realizes he didn't lead the last lap. The last lap was actually led by Kyle Zimmer, so he's going to stay out this lap. But unlucky for him, because pace car lights are already off. That was a lightning quick yellow. So, man, I can't believe that yellow flag was that short. It seemed like it was only 2 laps long. So I think that's going to work against Nate Catilla. I think he was expecting a longer caution, but we'll have to see what he can do here. Now that he's got a little bit of clean air on that number 4 truck, he's got the 01 of Eric Minch and Johnny Berardi sitting in 3rd. There's 3 cars that stayed out. Did not get fresh tires. AJ Digby, the 4th truck, 2nd truck on the outside line. He will be the first truck on 4 fresh tires. Kyle Zimmer restarts 5th. Kevin Paskowicz 6th. Dave Wilson, Chris Vermerge, Alan Capers, and Doug McCollum round out your top 10. Pace car is off. It's set to go back to green flag racing here at Phoenix. For those drivers on older tires, they better watch out for wheel spin. But everyone gets a great restart as green flag is back in the air. In fact, Catilla got a really good restart, but he's not going to dive it down into turn number. Oh, contact! 25 of Kyle Zimmer's around. Hard hit with the number 66, Brian Lowhead, and we are back under caution. There you can see those trucks spun around. There's Zimmer, and definitely Zimmer probably wishing he'd stayed out here. He's got a lot of rear end damage. And we'll see what happened here. They dive off into turn number 1. Ooh, maybe a little bit of a bump from the number 20 there of Dave Wilson, and unfortunately for the number 66, Brian Lowhead had nowhere to go. The number 32 had to half spin to stay off of those trucks. Right on board with the number 20 here, Dave Wilson, as they go off into the corner. And yeah, I think you'll see it right here. A little bit of contact with Zimmer. Put that number 25 truck right around. Like I said, Lowhead had nowhere to go. Tough break for him. But that's going to put AJ Digby, after all that mess, Digby has somehow shuffled to the race lead. And Eric Minch and Nate Catilla are on pit road currently, coming down to get 4 fresh tires. Like I said, I think they were kind of snookered out there under that last yellow. This was a short one, so they're gonna take this opportunity to come down and get a few laps fresher tires than those even in front of them. So I think that's probably a good move on their part. But we're back under the yellow flag here at Phoenix. Brian Lowhead, let's see if we can get a shot of Brian Lowhead right now, because that number 66 truck is crabbing violently down pit road. Definitely pretty cool to see Brian Lowhead with that crabbing truck. And you see the number 32, Billy Wise. He's your lucky dog. Gonna get one of his laps back. Excuse me, that's Billy Wise and the number 32. Gonna get one of his laps back. Was 2 laps down, so definitely gonna use that to his advantage. In fact, Brian Lowhead worked his way all the way through pit road. And the number 66. And I think Brian Lowhead, not quite sure what's up with that. I think he was looking for his pit box. Might have missed his pit box. There's the number 1, Thomas Wise, coming down pit road to get that 4 fresh tires. And Brian Lowhead has his 66 truck back to pit road. And he's crabbing so much, he's actually laying down rubber behind him. It's that bad, that number 66. But he's doing a fantastic job of crabbing it back to pit road. Hopefully he can find his pit box this time, because that would be a tough break. And he is now in his pit box, going to get a fast repair. All these drivers do have multiple fast repairs to use, so that's definitely to the advantage of Brian Lowhead. The pace car lights are continuing to be on. Looks like maybe a little bit longer caution this time than the last time. But AJ Digby, number 14, back out front. Kevin Paskowicz second, Chris Roberge third, Johnny Berardi fourth in the number 99. Doug McCollum rounds out your top 5. Fernando Matos, Dave Wilson. And then we have a couple of other trucks back there. Kyle Zimmer 8th, Nate Catilla 9th, and Eric Minch in 10th. Pace car lights now have turned off. We'll get set to go back to green flag racing. For all of you Kyle Zimmer fans, he was able to use that fast repair back up into the 8th position. So he was in the 5th spot under that last restart when he got a little bit of contact from the number 20. We'll have to see what Zimmer can do from the 8th position on this restart. He's got Fernando Matos directly in front of him. You see him just there on the bottom of your screen with that GameStop rear end. But pace car lights are off. The whole field going through turns number 3 and 4. We'll get set to go back to green flag racing. Definitely these drivers putting on a good show so far, but pace car has dived down onto pit lane. Going to put the race back into the hands of AJ Digby, who has led quite a few laps here tonight. The green flag back in the air. I'm sure Digby is going to try and keep that race lead. We saw Kyle Zimmer pass him on the outside in one of the earlier restarts, but this time Digby's going to drive it down in turns number 1 and 2 quite hard. But here comes Paskowicz, the over-under. That number 7 machine now using the dog leg to his advantage. Move Kevin Paskowicz up to the front at least briefly. They're really close to turns number 3 and 4. Paskowicz trying to use that inside line. Digby not quite able to get the drive until that very last moment. I think Paskowicz had to check up a little bit, and when he checked up, he opened the door for Chris Roberge. Roberge now running second in that number 98 Canadian flagged machine. Aptly says made in Canada on the bumper of that number 98 machine. And here comes Dave Wilson, Roberge's teammate, trying to track down Paskowicz. They're side by side coming out of turn number 4. Paskowicz on that high side. And we have another caution here. Oh, number 99, Johnny Berardi's gone around on the front stretch. Some rear end damage on that machine. Brian Lowhead there. Looks like that number 66 is nice and clean. Let's see what happened. Focusing on Lowhead here. Oh, looks like a little bit in front of him. And oh man, Lowhead's glad the number 99 spun out of the way, because it looked for a little bit there like Lowhead was going down in a cul-de-sac. Let's see. Happened here up off the corner. Ooh, maybe a little bit of contact there, or definitely a contact there from the 01 Eric Minch. I'm going to loosen up that number 99 machine, spin him around, turn him into a blender there. Spins around, coming out of turn number 4. Tough break for Johnny Berardi. He was running up in the top 5 just a moment ago. But definitely that contact is going to send him to the back. As we have almost reached the halfway mark, not quite yet. This is a 125 lap race. We've got 75 laps to go. As we had a really long green flag run to start this race. I think we had a 25 lap green flag run to start this race, but in the last 25 or so laps, I think we have seen 4 yellow flags in the last 25 laps. So definitely cautions breed cautions, as some of the trucks have decided to come down pit road. Going to be interesting to see how this strategy plays out. Johnny Berardi, Brian Lowhead, Eric Minch, Kyle Zimmer, Doug McCollum, and Kevin Paskowicz coming down to get fresh tires. Paskowicz, of course, has been running up near the front this entire race. Lost out second and third to Reversion Wilson. So I think he's decided to come down and get those fresh tires to see what he can do on them. Kyle Zimmer also coming down pit road. We've seen Zimmer lead a few laps here in this one. In fact, I think so far Zimmer's led the most laps in that number 25 machine, but he's been involved in an accident, trying to work his way back up, getting some damage repaired currently on that machine. As he cycles through the field, on board with the number 13 of Alan Capers. And that bright purple machine, you cannot miss it. And I think ever since the race where Alan Capers has debuted that bright purple machine, I can't miss it at all. And I love the fact that he's got some bright green chrome wheels. It just kind of adds a finishing touch to that machine. Just can't miss it. Just cannot miss that truck. In fact, I'm sure if you had him in your rearview mirror, he tried to get that cone. He tried, didn't quite get it. Or maybe he was aiming to just get around it, like those tire barrels that you get in the dirt road races, the rallycross races. I know those things you want to get as close to as possible without hitting, because if you hit one of those tire barrels in rallycross, you're more than likely going to end up on your roof. And that's never fun. I have done it, and it's not a good time. It does not give you any I rating, and it doesn't give you any safety rating. So usually those two things are bad things. So, but in a league race, you don't have either of those. So, maybe it's just going out there for some good fun. Pace car lights, though, have turned off. And we'll be getting set to go back to green flag racing here in just a little bit. Got to give a shout out to Brian Newton, Tim Giles and Connolly, Mitch Brown, all in the chat here tonight. Brian Newton saying, AJ Digby, number 14 in the lead, and look at that Zulu paint. KV24 making Digby look good. And it definitely looks good when he's out front, I'll tell you that. And that is where he is now. Chris Roberge decided to come down pit road, and he's going to restart in the 11th position to Digby's outside. It's the number 20 of Dave Wilson, yet to lead a lap. He's been up and down through the field, but definitely with a clean truck currently. And Dave Wilson will be looking for his 11th win of the season here tonight. Green flag back in the air, and AJ Digby's going to get us back rolling. Dave Wilson with a great restart, going to stay right to the outside of Digby's number 14 truck. Wilson, no contact! Contact, that was the number 4, Nate Catilla. And Dave Wilson got that door check, and that's going to open the door for Alan Capers here getting underneath Wilson. In fact, Capers is going to take that second position away. Meanwhile, the 14 of Digby's able to scoot away. We're back under caution. We have a car flipping upside down. It is Chris Roberge. Just as I was saying, upside down is not a good thing. There's the number 1, Thomas Wise, involved as well. And Roberge is smoking. Thomas Wise is going to have to take a tow. Tough break for the number 1. We'll watch to see what happened on the replay. Oh, maybe the number 1 looks like he came down just a little bit there. And put the number 98 on his lid. Spun that number 98 machine around. Riding on board with him here. see he kind of goes to this middle lane, and all of a sudden gets a little bit of contact, hard contact with the outside wall, and on the gyro cam makes you a little bit dizzy. Good news though is Roberge landed on all four wheels and was able to nurse that machine back to his pit box. Can't say the same for the number 1 machine. He had to take a tow, but Roberge is going to be able to use a fast repair and hopefully not lose a lap here. Pace car coming down the front stretch, and Roberge is just now rolling, so Roberge will not lose a lap. Good break for him. A bunch of trucks now on pit road, one of those being Dave Wilson, was in 3rd position when the caution flew, and he's on pit road. And along with him, you have a couple of others. Looks like Nate Catilla in the 4 is down pit road. The number 99, Berardi on pit road. Kevin Cochran, Brian Lowhead joining him. Dave Wilson going to be the first one to get rolling. But Alan Capers there, bright purple machine, got a little bit of left rear damage there. But he's on his way to 2nd position. So Capers definitely looking to get a good run here tonight. And, you know, looking at his finishing results here so far this year, Alan Capers' best result was a 3rd place at Gateway. So he's hoping to add to that 3rd place finish, maybe 1 spot better, maybe even 2 spots better. Alan Capers hoping to get the W here tonight on the tricky track ISM Raceway out west. Doug McCollum in 3rd. We've seen him get a win this season. Trying to get that 2nd win definitely would be a big break for that number 33 to win here tonight. As I think someone got, I couldn't quite tell if the 14 or the 13 got it there. One of them did, and they're kind of playing hockey with the cone a little bit further back in the pack as the cone has finally decided to reset. But they were, as the cone kind of bounced around, you saw everyone kind of dive for it to try and hit the bouncing cone. Playing hockey with it is probably pretty fun, you know, until it resets and iRacing says, no, you cannot have fun with the cone, I'm sorry. As the virtual iRacing official cone person runs out onto the track and resets it lap after lap. Kevin Vollmer also in the chat, giving a shout out. Great to see everyone joining us here in the chat. If you're joining us here on 3Wide TV for the first time, we welcome you. We've got the 1 lap to green flag racing as we're nearing the halfway mark. We'll be at the halfway mark in just about 4 laps. And there is a bonus point in the Truck Series to the halfway lap leader. They don't have that in the B car series, but they do have it here in the trucks, as we have 58 laps down, 67 laps to go. They worked their way through turns number 3 and 4. It'll be interesting to see what Alan Capers has got for AJ Digby with that little bit of left rear damage. Digby keeping that number 14 truck nice and clean as the pace car has peeled off once more. We'll just get set to go back in flag racing. Doug McCollum and number 33 tucked up behind the 14 of AJ Digby. We'll see if he can do anything as green flag back in the air. Look at Digby able to jump up front. Digby's got a great run up off the corner. Digby now to the race lead. Alan Capers right behind. They're side by side right behind. Capers is going to take that spot. Kevin Paskowicz running in 3rd. Here comes Paskowicz around the outside of Capers. And Paskowicz is going to take that spot back. We've seen Paskowicz be really fast here tonight. He's kind of seesawed as this race has kind of ebbed and flowed here recently. But he's worked his way now back to the 2nd position. And if my math is correct, Kevin Paskowicz has about 10 lap fresher tires than Digby. So it'll be interesting to see if Paskowicz can run down as there's almost 3 wide there. Fernando Matos in the middle. Looks like the 25 Kyle Zimmer, he's got the cone stuck on that the front end. Rest in peace cone. That blue cone is being dragged around the racetrack by Kyle Zimmer, and looks like finally it got chewed up. It might have actually caught one of the other trucks a little bit further back. but finally that cone has left the front end of Kyle Zimmer's truck. Not quite sure if that was affecting the handling of that number 25 machine. He's back up into 7th position. They're side by side a little bit further up front. Alan Capers now under fire from Dave Wilson. Wilson, who has only 6 laps on his tires. In fact, he's got some of the freshest tires out there. Wilson is marching to the front, still side by side with Capers. As they go through the dog leg, Dave Wilson trying to move. And I've noticed one thing here tonight. It seems like the inside line is good to pass, but if you can get your nose to the outside corner of the truck that you're alongside, sometimes you can do just exactly what Dave Wilson did right there and just get the power down a little bit quicker and get that run up off the corner. So Wilson now moves up into 4th. Going to try and run down McCollum in the 33. Kevin Paskowicz running 2nd in the number 7. Paskowicz last time by was about a 10th faster than Digby. Got to keep an eye on that as that race for the lead starts to close up just a little bit. This time by, it flip-flops. That time by Paskowicz was about a 10th and a half slower than Digby. Fastest driver on track was Doug McCollum. So got to keep an eye on that number 33. All of a sudden, we're seeing some moves up at the front with drivers kind of trading off lap times with one another. Definitely a pretty impressive run here by Doug McCollum to keep that number 33 Epilepsy Sucks Chevrolet nice and clean here tonight. Definitely mounting that charge here, racing a little bit further back in the pack. Matos on the high side, he's got the number 98 of Chris Roberge to his inside. Move Roberge up a spot, just in front of them. Kyle Zimmer racing with Capers. Zimmer trying to work his way back up to the front. Zimmer came into the night, the bubble driver, trying to get, as we have another caution, Nate Catilla, and I was just about to say that Zimmer has to stay in front of Nate Catilla, and Catilla here in the number 4 machine going around, bringing out the yellow flag. Oh, looks like he just got a little bit loose, maybe had a little bit too much rear brake bias in it. It just broke loose on the entry. He was able to keep it off the wall, so that's definitely a plus, as we have just gone past halfway with 59 laps to go. Right on board, you see it just all of a sudden broke loose from him. Trying to do everything he could to save it, but man, as soon as it snapped on him, didn't look like he could do anything. And that truck kind of had a mind of its own, but he's going to stay on the lead lap. Meanwhile, leaders on pit road led by AJ Digby. Chris Roberge is going to stay out along with Alan Capers. Interesting strategy call there, but Digby is going to be joined on pit road. Kevin Paskowicz, the 33, Doug McCollum on pit road. Dave Wilson on pit road, and the number 20. Going to have to see what Kyle Zimmer does. He's on pit road. And the number 25. So pretty much all of your big players here tonight, the drivers who've all led laps on pit road at one moment in time. I should say drivers that have led green flag laps, because Alan Capers in the number 13 is your new lap leader out there. And oh, look at Dave Wilson. Dave Wilson's rolling. Digby's rolling. Digby's going to win the race off pit road. McCollum's second. And Paskowicz going to lose a couple spots. Paskowicz going to drop back to 4th. Wilson's going to move up to the 3rd car off pit road, for 3rd truck, I should say. Be interesting to see what drivers decide to come down pit road this time. Alan Capers thought better of it. He kind of showed that he was going to pit, but he decided not to in the end. Johnny Berardi, I think he's going to be your lucky dog here. Indeed, he is. Berardi going to get waved around the pace car. So move Berardi back to lead lap. Matthew Lesniewski, we should mention this, and I'm sure if you've been keeping an eye on the ticker on the left-hand side of the track, but unfortunately after that contact a little while ago with Billy Wise, Lesniewski parked the number 24 truck and has retired from this event. So we have 15 of the 16 starters still running out there. Thomas Wise will be the only truck more than 1 lap down. He's currently 2 laps down. But besides Thomas Wise, 14 other trucks are on the lead lap. So plenty to play for the remainder of the field. I'm sure Thomas Wise is hoping he can get 2 more caution flags to work his way back to the lead lap. See if he can end up with a good finish. Keep an eye on Billy Wise in the number 32. He's one of those drivers that decided to stay out. He's got 18 laps on his tires, and him staying out there has moved him up into the 3rd position. He's right behind the number 13 of Alan Capers as pace car lights are off once more here. 56 laps to go. You see all those numbers on the left side of your screen. That's how many laps these drivers have on this set of tires. Of course, Alan Capers has the most with 24 there. So pretty impressive that Alan Capers was able to maintain his track position. His rest in peace cone once again. And it'll be interesting to see that tire differential, that tire strategy on that number 13, whether or not it will work out for him. I think he's definitely playing the track position game because we have some of the other drivers who have just pitted. They will be on 4 fresh tires, but they don't have that front row. The front row here being Capers and Roberge. Capers definitely on a little bit older tires than Roberge, but we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out as pace cars off the racetrack. And green flag back in the air. They're off and going here. Great restart by Alan Capers. Roberge, remainder of the field all doubling up off of turn number 1. Roberge trying to use those slightly fresher tires to his advantage. Here comes AJ Digby making it 3 wide coming out of turn number 2 as we focus on Capers. Capers going to go all the way down on the inside, but they're 3 wide for 2nd as, oh look, Roberge got a little bit loose. Digby had to check up just a little bit. Digby's still on the outside, still running 3 wide. Oh, contact there. Oh, Roberge is around. Roberge is around on the front stretch. Everyone goes to avoid the 17 of Matos. Gets into the back of Paskowicz. And we're back under the caution flag. Oh, Chris Roberge up there at the front. He got a little bit loose right in the center of the corner. Let's see what happened up off the corner. Billy Wise was tucked up right behind him. A little bit of net code there, I would say. Sent him around. You see the 7 of Paskowicz around. I think Lowhead had to hit the wall. Paskowicz backed up, almost took out, I think, Thomas Wise. Hopefully Wise did not get a 1X for that. Right on board here. See that little bit of contact. And, man, Paskowicz, he did everything he could to avoid that accident. But unfortunately, just got caught out. Oh, the number 1, Thomas Wise, did spin while avoiding Paskowicz, so he's going to unfortunately forfeit that lucky dog position, getting that 1X or 2X, I should say, for loss of control. So a tough break for Thomas Wise. He's hoping to get back on the lead lap. He's right on board with them. He did everything he could to avoid running into Paskowicz, but unfortunately that weight transfer on the front end of that number 11 truck was just not advantageous, and that one machine got turned right around. So and hopefully Thomas Wise does not lose another lap here as he's on pit road currently. Pace car is coming down through turn number 1 and 2. I think Thomas Wise is going to lose another lap here. See that number 1 truck right there as these leaders flashed on by. So Thomas Wise, instead of getting the lucky dog, will now end up 3 laps down. So that's definitely not what he wanted to see at this present moment in time, but there will be no lucky dog here. Kyle Zimmer, one of the drivers on pit road. In fact, he's coming down. Oh, Zimmer actually got a lot of damage in that. Zimmer, not quite sure what happened here with Zimmer. I guess Zimmer was caught up in that when he got into the back of the number 32 and hit the inside wall, and Zimmer actually blew a motor. So Kyle Zimmer had to use a fast repair. He does stay on the lead lap for all you Kyle Zimmer fans out there, and in doing so he will be the last truck on the lead lap in the 14th position. So Kyle Zimmer, we saw him really fast early in this race, and I realize we still have 51 laps to go. There's still plenty of time for Kyle Zimmer to make his way back up to the front, but Kyle Zimmer here just hasn't seemed to been able to get that track position since relinquishing it early on, and it's been really unfortunate. We've seen a lot of pace out of that number 25 truck, but He's just been kind of mired back in traffic. The leaders kind of zip away from him on these restarts, and he's been caught up in a couple of accidents. So definitely a tough break for Kyle Zimmer. We got GOM1600 in the chat saying, "Go Zimmer." So we do have some Kyle Zimmer fans in the chat. Great to see you in the chat. We got Giles and Johnny Thomas. Tim, of course, always rooting for Chris Roberge. Great to see that support for Roberge out there. And of course we got Johnny Thomas. Johnny is one of the other members of 3 Wide TV saying hashtag 3 Wide Media Day. Definitely go check out that hashtag on Twitter. That'd be the number 3 followed by Wide Media Day for the 3 Wide Racing Series coming up. And Carlos Acosta, our producer, says make sure you go check out that number 24 ride. And that will be the ride that our one and only producer will be racing in the 3 Wide Racing Leagues this season. That season about to kick off here next week, so that's pretty cool. As all these drivers now getting set to go back to green flag racing as pace car lights have turned off once again. 50 laps to go, be 49 lap shootout to the finish once they go back to green flag racing. And Alan Capers, we saw him make that call to stay out into that last caution. He stayed out once again on 30-lap-old tires up at the front, battling with Dave Wilson in the number 20. He's on only 9-lap-old fresh tires. Green flag back in the air. Number 13 and number 20 both getting pretty good restarts. Dave Wilson trying to use that outside to get out front. Wilson hasn't led a lap so far in this race. Wilson gets a great drive up off the corner. They're both going to go down and use the dog leg. Wilson to the outside. You're riding on board with AJ Digby. Digby now going to try and use that outside. Oh! Look at the number 13 kind of slid up there in the center of the corner. And I think those older tires on Capers' truck hurting him just a little bit as both the 20 of Dave Wilson and the 14 of AJ Digby have now slid past him. So Capers slides back to third here. Digby now up to second. Let's see what he can do. See if he can run down the 20 of Dave Wilson. Wilson leading his first lap of the day. Running a little bit higher on the racetrack, be running right down there on the yellow line. And they're now racing back for the third position. Nate Catilla currently sits fourth. He needs a good run. They're almost 3 wide. They are now 3 wide. Kevin Paskovich running the high line. The 13 of Capers in the middle. Catilla going to jump all the way down to the inside line through the dog leg. Oh, really close there between Catilla and Capers. Catilla now right there on the yellow line, stuck behind. Oh, they got really tight. And Paskovich is going to take the spot from Capers, I think, here. But now Catilla's under fire from Kevin Cochran in the number 80. We haven't really talked about Cochran here tonight, but he's now moved himself up into the 6th position. And if he can get around one of these trucks in front of him, he'll be inside the top 5 as the cone rests in peace twice. And Cochran now gonna get past Catilla just for a brief moment. We'll have to see what they can do coming off the corner. Catilla's going to defend using the high line. Nothing really happening up the front. So it currently sits Capers 4th and Catilla 5th. Eric Minch sits 6th at the line. But they're side by side now with Cochran. Cochran was 7th at the line that last time by. Cochran is going to get around Eric Minch here. So move him back up to 6th. Chris Roberge going to try and get 7th from Minch using that inside line. Minch's hold on, not so fast. And oh, looks like Catilla might have maybe moved the 13 of Capers up out of the way just a little bit as the number 4 now shows his nose to the inside of the 13. They're almost 3 wide right behind them though as Cochran is coming under fire from Minch and Roberge. This is a great battle for 4th. It's like a pretty much a 6-truck battle for the 4th position. You're looking at Capers in 4th, Zimmer in 10th. I mean, all of these trucks, you could throw a proverbial blanket over them, but it still sits Capers in 4th, and he's on those older tires. He now currently has 37 laps on those tires, and holding off these trucks that have quite a few laps fresher tires on them. Keep an eye on the number 25 of Kyle Zimmer. Ooh, contact between Chris Roberge and Kevin Cochran on entry into the corner. There was just a little bit of a nudge, another little nudge by the 98. Trying to loosen up Cochran just a little bit. If they don't stop doing that, it will end in tears for these drivers. But while all these drivers are racing so hard, it has allowed Capers to scoot away from them just a little bit. And it has definitely let the top three scoot away from Capers, as they're 3 wide again. Reverge in the middle, Minch to the outside. Kind of sort out, they're back to double file. Here comes Cochran trying to get underneath Catilla, not able to do so, but Reverge and Minch now 3 wide up off the corner. Cochran's going to use the door check to get around Catilla, and Nate's not going to like that, but it's going to let the number 98 like. And if you look kind of towards the back part of this pack is Kyle Zimmer. We've seen him really fast here tonight, not able to get around this group of trucks. He might be running low on fast repairs. That might be why he's deciding to be a little bit cautious here, as we have 40 laps to go now. Definitely these drivers know how to put a show. This mid-pack racing from 5th place on back has been impressive. Fernando Matos trying to dive to the inside of Nate Catilla. Catilla will enter stage left there as Catilla dive all the way down to the bottom of the dog. Like, oh, contact there between Eric Minch and Nate Catilla. That's going to move Minch up the racetrack. Minch is going to stay off the wall. But that little door check, we've seen this a couple times tonight where these drivers are bouncing off one another. I said in the intro that Phoenix kind of races like a short track, I do believe, and it definitely does race like a short track. It's showing it as we're almost 4 wide down the back stretch. Zimmer wisely backs out of, oh, Reverge is in the outside wall. Going through turns number 3 and 4, that number 98 machine made contact with the blue stripe right around the outside of the racetrack, or the outside retaining wall. And, oh, really tight here. Kyle Zimmer and Fernando Matos. Zimmer trying to work his way through this pack. He's still running in the 10th position. Not able to make any progress. Actually, excuse me, he's up to 9th now. He got around Nate Catilla. So Catilla's dropped back 10th as they currently stand. And Zimmer now trying to work his way around Fernando Matos. This gaggle of cars in front of Zimmer starting to string out just a little bit, but definitely a whole bunch of hard racing near the back. Billy Wise, Nate Catilla getting close there on the right side of the screen for just a brief moment. But definitely no one really giving anyone much room here, as it's all take here, as we only have 37 laps to go. Zimmer using that outside to his advantage. And if you're a Kyle Zimmer fan, you might be concerned here at this present moment in time, because he is the bubble driver. But Nate Catilla, as long as Zimmer can stay in front of Catilla, Zimmer should be safe here tonight. And currently at this present moment in time, he's 2 spots in front of Catilla. So Zimmer definitely showing a little bit of patience here to work his way through traffic with only 36 laps to go. You're not missing much up at the front. In fact, Wilson's actually pulled away from Digby just a little bit. Wilson now up to about a 0.6 of a second lead. And Digby won't be too appreciative of the number 99 of Johnny Berardi. Berardi just went in front of the number 14 machine. I think Digby was expecting him to go high through the corner, but Digby had to check up big time. In fact, there was a little bit of contact between those two, and Digby just lost a ton of time on the race leader. In fact, the race lead in 1 lap has ballooned from 0.6 of a second up to 1.7 seconds, and that has brought Kevin Pasquich right into a battle. And just as I say that, it's all for naught, because the caution flag is back out on the racetrack. Looks like Alan Capers in the number 13 machine, unfortunately, has had an excursion with the outside wall. Let's see if we can figure out what happened here on replay. He had the number 31 of Eric Minch tucked up right behind him here. And, oh, the 01 dived down to the inside. They made a little bit of contact. Not quite sure if Alan Capers knew that the 01's nose was down there or not. And unfortunately, that little bit of contact sent the number 13 around. Not too much damage on that number 13. I don't think he really made any contact with, he did make a little bit of contact with the outside wall. We'll see it on the replay here, right there. And tough break for Alan Capers, as he's still rolling though, so he will be able to limp that machine back to pit road, use a fast repair. I do expect to see everyone on pit road this time. at the very least, you have at this point 19 laps on your tires, and most of those laps were green flag laps, so I do expect to see the whole field down, including Alan Capers. Capers had the oldest tires. Eric Minch has decided to go against the commentator. Minch is going to stay out. Didn't quite lead the lap. In fact, Dave Wilson led the lap, so hopefully Eric Minch's goal was to actually stay out, not just lead the lap, because Wilson just barely beat him to it. Oh, Wilson overshot his pit box. He had to back up just a little bit, and that might just hurt Dave Wilson's chance of winning this race. With 32 laps to go, there's Kevin Paskowicz in number 7. We'll see how this race unfolds. We saw Paskowicz miss his pit box earlier in the race, but that was earlier in the race. This is starting to be go time. There's the number 20 already rolling, and look at that. Even though Dave Wilson overshot his pit box a little bit, he's going to win the race off pit road. Kevin Paskowicz is going to leapfrog AJ Digby. So Digby had a really slow stop. You can see it on the right side of the screen. 15.2 seconds for AJ Digby. And Dave Wilson's pit crew, my oh my, they made up for Dave Wilson's little mistake with a 13.9 second stop. So that pit crew definitely getting the job done here tonight. On your left side of the screen, you will see the fastest lap of the race so far for these drivers, and you will notice that Dave Wilson, who is leading the race, does currently have the best lap time of this event with a 27.874, which is only marginally faster than AJ Digby. I will be honest, AJ Digby is only 6/1000ths of a second slower than Wilson in that fastest lap. I wouldn't say it's a competition, but it is a competition. I'm sure all these drivers out here would like to go home tonight saying they had the fastest lap in this race. I know typically when I'm in a race, that's what I try and do. Go for that fastest lap and the W. You kind of want to win the pole, fastest lap, and lead all the laps, you know, all that jazz. If you're one of these drivers, I would say 99 times out of 100 that does not happen, but you know, every once in a while it does, and it makes you feel pretty good. But for Dave Wilson, he must be feeling pretty good right now because he is up front leading this race, and all these trucks looks like they might be starting to double file up, so we'll see if pace car lights turn off. Indeed they do. So we'll get set to go back to green flag racing here in just a lap. We've 29 laps to go once we go back green, so that's just about the perfect amount of time for all these drivers to find their rhythm, hit their marks lap after lap, and try and make inroads on the race lead to try and get the race win. Kyle Zimmer, he had a pretty good pit stop. He's moved it up into the 7th position. We'll just reset the top 10 for you here at this present moment in time. Dave Wilson, your race leader. Kevin Paskowicz, AJ Digby running 3rd. Lost a spot. Billy Wise running in 4th. Kevin Cochran, Chris Roberge, Kyle Zimmer, Nate Catilla, Fernando Matos, and Brian Lowhead round out your top 10. And Billy Wise took 2 tires under that pit stop. That's how he has leapfrogged into the 3rd position. We'll have to see how that works out for him. We've definitely seen that tires appear to be important because of track position. Billy Wise now has that track position. We'll have to see what he can make of it as the green flag is back in the air here at ISM Raceway. Great restart up at the front. Definitely these drivers showing how to make a good restart here as Kevin Paskowicz is going to try and hold tough on the outside of the number 20 of Dave Wilson. Does get to that quarter panel of Wilson's truck and gets a really good run down the backstretch. Paskowicz trying to use that higher line. He's not really pinching the number 20 of Dave Wilson down. I expected him to pinch him down just a little bit more, but because he didn't pinch him, he's going to the number 20 was able to get the power down pretty well, but he was able to fight back just a little bit. But into turn number 1, Wilson hard on the brakes on the inside. He's gonna just nose ahead of Paskowicz here, just a little bit. Paskowicz is not done. Paskowicz showing his nose just to the inside for just a brief moment. Paskowicz going up high. He's gonna open the door for Digby. Digby now trying to get underneath that number 7 machine as they have 27 laps to go this time by. Just a fraction more than 27 miles. Here comes Chris Roberge. Roberge is going to move up just behind these two. Roberge is going to move up into the 4th position. Good rebound for Chris Roberge. We saw that number 98 truck wreck not too long ago as Digby has made that pass now on Paskowicz using the dogleg to his advantage. We're back under the caution flag in turns number 3 and 4. The 32, Billy Wise, made contact with the inside wall there. I'm sure that he made contact possibly with the outside wall as well. We'll see what happened here. I think I saw him hit the outside wall first. Oh, Nate Catilla there in the number 4 machine there. Nate Catilla making that contact with Billy Wise, and there definitely wasn't contact with both the outside wall and the inside wall. Definitely not what Billy Wise was hoping for with that 2-tire strategy. He had made that call, and you see it on replay there from high atop the helicopter cam. That little bit of contact. It's kind of 3 trucks all going for the same spot at the same time, and Catilla was the meat in the sandwich. He had Alan Capers to his inside. I know Alan Capers was definitely going to be racing hard there, and yep, just that little bit of contact. Capers on the inside, Catilla in the middle, and Billy Wise on the top. 3 trucks going for the same real estate, and a track like Phoenix will lead to that happening. So tough break for Billy Wise. He was able to get that truck back to pit road, so I do expect to see him get that truck repaired and back out here once this is all said and done. But we're down to 25 laps to go. Dave Wilson still leading the way. No one decided to come down pit road beyond Eric Minch and Billy Wise, and Brian Lowhead, I should say. So they'll have fresher tires than everyone else around them, but surprisingly enough, it seems like track position is one of the most important things here tonight. It looks like you have 5 to 10 laps on your tires. You can hold off trucks with the fresh Goodyear Eagles or Goodyear Wranglers. I don't remember if they still use Goodyear Wranglers on the trucks. I think they got rid of that, actually, but I think they're all Goodyear Eagles now. But regardless of whether or not they're Goodyear Wranglers or Goodyear Eagles, they are Goodyear tires, and a couple of these drivers electing to get 4 fresh ones in Billy Wise, Brian Lowhead, and Eric Minch. Minch will be the first one off-road in the 11th position once we go back to green, so we'll got to keep an eye on that number 01 machine in the 11th position on the ticker as number 20, Dave Wilson there taking out the cone. Leader of the race, Cullen Cones, taking names. You know, that's what you do when you're the race leader here at ISM Raceway. But my oh my, it's been a good race, action all throughout the field. If you're just now joining us, definitely once this race is over, go back and watch some of the 3 wide, 4 wide action that we've seen in this race. That dogleg on the back stretch, excuse me, presents itself with some great racing, and great racing for us to bring to you here on 3 Wide TV as pace car lights are off once again. And remember to give us a thumbs up, give us a subscribe, give us a shout in the comments. Keeping an eye on those comments, haven't seen very much activity in a while. Johnny Thomas, once again, giving a shout out to make sure to follow 3 Wide TV on Twitter. That's right, it is the word 3 Wide TV, all one word, and that's not the number 3, it is the word 3, so hopefully you can spell the word 3. Sometimes I struggle. Sometimes we all struggle up here in the commentary booth. My partner in crime, Cameron Rich, not here with me tonight. He's traveling back from Austin, Texas. Both Cameron and I attended the IndyCar race down there, so that was a lot of fun. Got a little bit of sunburn, but that's all right. We'll shake it off. And all these drivers about to shake off this yellow flag as the green flag is back in the air. Flagman unfurls, and great restart for AJ Digby. In fact, that's the best restart I've seen of the night by AJ Digby. He's going to drive that number 14 truck into the race lead coming out of turn number 2, and Dave Wilson's going to go all the way to the inside of the racetrack. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything with Digby. He dives really hard into turn number 3. Actually, I think he had to, he actually scared Digby there just a little bit, but Digby is going to take the race lead with 22 laps to go. Digby getting clean air on the nose of that Zulu Motorsports Chevrolet. That's exactly what he was hoping for. Going to run all the way up there to the wall, coming out of turn number 2, trying to keep that momentum up. this track is such a momentum track. I mean, that's why you're seeing a lot of these drivers, once they're pinched down, they can't get the horsepower or get the throttle down. Once they come out the corner, they just lose so much time. And it's a momentum track, and Digby definitely keeping that momentum up by kind of letting that number 14 truck wash out to the wall. We look just a little bit further back. Kevin Paskowicz currently sitting in the 3rd position there, trying to track down the number 20 of Dave Wilson. Alan Capers still running in 4th. 5th position, however, has now gone to Kyle Zimmer. So Zimmer, he was running in 10th position not too long ago. There he is. With your bubble driver coming in tonight, the number 13, Alan Capers, hit the wall, and tough break for the 4. Nate Catilla is on pit road. Not quite sure what that is about. Maybe a penalty for Nate Catilla. He's getting tires changed on that machine, so tough break. He was the 5th place truck in points coming into tonight. Was trying to break his way into the top 4 in points, but not able to do so at this present moment of time. Zimmer's moved up into 4th by getting around Capers when Capers hit the wall coming out of 4. And the 25 of Zimmer now going to be able to try and chase down past, which we've seen a lot of pace out of Zimmer tonight, especially in the early going. He's had to pace himself to get back towards the front, but here he is showing his muscle once again with only 18 laps to go. And Digby's kind of checked just a little bit on Dave Wilson. Last time by, Digby fastest truck on the racetrack, and Digby has reset fastest lap of the race. Digby ran a 27.710 a few laps ago, as we have a truck smoking. Johnny Berardi is smoking on the backstretch. Not quite sure what happened with him, but he is off the racing line as to not put any oil down on the racing surface. We'll see what happened to him here on the replay. He was all by himself. Ooh, made a little bit of contact with the outside wall there on the front stretch. Oh man, how did that not bring out a caution? How did that not bring... He was upside down twice. But no caution here at Phoenix. He's still rolling, getting it back to pit road. Unbelievably not a yellow flag. Not quite sure what the flagman was doing, but regardless, there's still some great action happening out on the racetrack as Kyle Zimmer is dived underneath Paskowicz. They're side by side for the 3rd position. Paskowicz holding him off once more coming out of turn number 4. You see all that smoke from the 99 of Berardi washing its way across the racetrack. But I've seen some great racing between Alan Capers and Eric Minch. Minch is caught up to Capers. Minch, remember, he took 4 fresh tires into that last pit stop. Under that last round of caution, I should say. And Minch has worked his way through the field slowly but surely. And Minchie's trying to get that 5th position from Capers as Zimmer once again showing his nose underneath Paskowicz. Not able to do anything this time, as we have 14 laps to go. Great run by Zimmer out of number 2. Zimmer's going to dive all the way to the inside, down through the dog leg, and Zimmer's going to pull very much alongside that number 7 machine. This is about the best chance he's had so far to get around Paskowicz. Paskowicz running at a little bit higher line. Zimmer just can't get the throttle down up off the corner. Paskowicz holds him off yet again. As you can see, that battle brewing for the 5th position right behind these two. It's a 4-way battle right behind Zimmer and Paskowicz. I think if I'm Kyle Zimmer, I'm gonna have to try maybe diving around the outside to try and get this spot. As man, there is the number 25 Zimmer once again trying that inside line, not able to find it. Same exact result as the lap previous. As Cameron Rich has shown up in the chat, he did say he would join at some point to you know, once he was on his ride home, turn us on YouTube and have a listen in. And he's getting the last 12 laps here, so there's 12 laps to go. Hopefully Cameron Rich makes it back home nice and safe. But this battle for 3rd position, Kyle Zimmer not quite able to find a way around Paskowicz. AJ Digby has checked out up at the front. Digby running the fastest lap last time by. He's pulled out now to a 9/10 of a second lead over Dave Wilson. So Digby looking for his 2nd truck win of the season in that number 14 machine. Capers still holding on to 5th. Eric Minch has dropped back just a little bit. Kevin Cochran side by side with Chris Roberge. Roberge looking underneath Cochran, but once again, that outside line does prevail, looking like it's really tough to make a move on the inside line. Coming out of turn number 4, a couple of trucks have been able to get even side by side on the entry to turn number 3, but they just can't get the power down on that inside line. There is Kevin Cochran in that number 80 machine. Chris Roberge down his inside once more, but that high line showing its muscle up off the corner once again. Looks like Fernando Matos clipped the wall there just a little bit coming out of turn number 4. Keeping it going nice and straight though. This is really a 3 or 4 truck battle for the 6th position. Eric Minch 01 holding 6th. Kevin Cochran underneath them as the battle for 3rd is on once again. Zimmer getting underneath Paskowicz. There's going to be side by side coming off the corner. Zimmer not quite able to hold on side by side, but he's going to get a good run here into turn number 1. Paskowicz left that door open. He didn't close the door. Zimmer's going to get a great run up off the corner. Paskowicz is going to pinch him down here through the dog leg on the back stretch. And Paskowicz once again pulls alongside Kyle Zimmer. They're side by side. Zimmer going all the way below that yellow line. All 4 tires looking for grip, and once again doesn't find it. So, battle for the race lead has heated up once again. Caution though on the racetrack, and Fernando Matos unfortunately has put the number 17 truck into the inside wall, and I'm not quite sure if Matos in the number 17 is stuck in the inside wall. Yeah, he was stuck in the inside wall, so that with 7 laps to go, if I am AJ Digby, man, that's a hard hit. As you saw that happen right there, Matos making outside contact with the outside wall, I should say, bouncing off and then hitting the inside wall. Unfortunately, getting stuck in it. That's a tough break for Fernando Matos. There was that initial contact, got the truck sideways, tried to save it, made a little bit more contact, and hit the inside wall. And to add insult to injury, a blown motor. So I was just about to say it though, if I'm AJ Digby, this is gonna be the call of the race, one way or another. Either AJ Digby's gonna win the race right here, or he's going to lose the race right here. Now I understand how that sounds pretty silly, but there's no easy call here. I mean, do you stay out or do you pit? Looks like Dave Wilson's decided to come down and pit. Meanwhile, Digby's going to stay out. Paskowicz comes down and pit. Zimmer stays out. Capers stays out. Minch stays out. Cochran stays out. So Wilson, Paskowicz, Roberge, all on pit road. Billy Wise going to stay out. Lowhead stays out. I mean, there's a lot of trucks here that just stayed out onto the racetrack. And Nate Catilla is going to be the lucky dog here. He will get back onto the lead lap. So not quite sure why Catilla had to come down and make that unscheduled pit stop not too long ago. But you see that number 4 truck there going through turns number 3 and 4, going to be back on the lead lap. And he's going to have to hope for a miracle here if and when we go back to green flag racing to see if he can pole vault himself into the championship 4. He's going to have to get around Kyle Zimmer. Zimmer stays out. In fact, Zimmer inherits the 2nd position. We've seen speed out of that number 25 machine. We've said it. But he just hasn't been able to get that track position since things started to go awry for him. But now that he's up in 2nd, we actually saw him earlier in the race get a fantastic restart and pass AJ Digby on a restart to get the lead from the high side. We'll have to see if Zimmer can replicate that. I'm sure that's in the back of Digby's head, and I'm sure that's in the back of Zimmer's head, because the first truck, I should say, on 4 fresh tires is Dave Wilson, and Wilson's all the way back in the 7th position. If we get a 2-lap shootout here, it's going to be very difficult for Wilson to make up all that time. I mean, I said that was going to be the call that could win AJ Digby the race, and I think, and I could be wrong, but with only 4 laps to go, we'll have 3 laps to go this time by. Pace car light's still on. We're looking at a maximum of 2 laps for those drivers on 4 fresh tires, Wilson, Paskowicz, Roberge, and company, to make up a ton of ground, and it's just going to be really difficult for them to do that. I am thinking that, you know, Zimmer and Digby made the right call, but only time will tell, because anything can and will happen at a track like Phoenix. Pace car lights have decided to turn off, so we will get a green, white, checkered finish to finish up the penultimate round of the MS Ford Truck Series season. And let me tell you guys, I should say, this is going to be one wild finish, and if this finish is going to be as wild as I think it is, it will set up a fantastic starting point for next week's race at Homestead Miami Speedway, where we will crown the MS Ford Truck Series champion. As all of these trucks have made their way to 3 and 4, I'm sure the heart rate of all these drivers has gone up. The hearts will be pounding out of the chest, especially if you're Digby or Zimmer. You want to get this win. You want to get your way to the Championship 4, but there's no better way to get your way to the Championship 4 with a win. Pace car has pulled off, and green flag is back in the air here at Phoenix. Great restart by AJ Digby. He's going to pull ahead. He's going to get a full half car length over Kyle Zimmer as they head off into turn number 1, and Digby's going to hold that yellow line, going to hold it right down there. He's going to clear everyone off the corner. Alan Caper is going to get around Zimmer, perhaps. And look at those 4 fresh tires of Dave Wilson. Wilson all the way on the inside line. Contact there between Wilson and his teammate, the number 98. More contact hard into the outside while caution flag is out. AJ Digby gets his second win of the Truck Series season. Kyle Zimmer will finish second. Doug McCollum gets a little bit sideways. We'll have to make sure that Zimmer will indeed finish second. But, man, Wilson was all the way below that yellow line. No one was giving him any room down there, and a little bit of contact there with his teammate, Chris Roberge. And once Roberge got sent up the track, got into the way of Eric Minch. Nate Catilla, tough break for Catilla. Catilla will not be making his way into the Final Four. Tom Johnson was one of those drivers on the outside looking in. Tom Johnson was a non-starter here tonight, so Tom Johnson was unfortunately one of those drivers who was not going to make his way into the Final Four. But for AJ Digby, Kyle Zimmer, and Alan Capers will tie his best finish of the season in third, but AJ Digby will punch his way to Homestead Miami with a win here at ISM Raceway. And boy, oh boy, I'm sure he will be very happy to get the proverbial monkey that he's had on his back for quite some time now off that back and set himself up for a good run next week. Definitely getting some of that momentum into Homestead Miami is probably the best thing to get at this present moment in time, as a couple of trucks are going backwards and smoking, and AJ Digby, though, gonna take it nice and slow, keep that number 14 truck nice and clean as he'll work his way around track. I'm sure he'll light up those rear tires as a couple of trucks smoking in turns number 3 and 4 after that one. It's never fun to have a race end under caution, but there was all that action going on the final lap. AJ Digby getting that second win. Like we said, first win was at Indianapolis. Getting his second career SimPossible Series win, lighting him up at the start-finish line on the front stretch, showing us how to do nice circular donuts. And that is how you do them right there. Keeping it off that inside wall, spinning it back sideways, burning him down. Well, we'll leave you with AJ Digby doing some donuts. We'll be right back after a few commercials with your top 3 finishers. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to ISM Raceway out in Avondale, Arizona. Man, that's hard to say. I'm Peter Schwartz, and we'll be bringing your top 3 finishers up here to talk here in just a moment. We saw AJ Digby with a fantastic race getting the W here at this very tricky track out in the desert. And we're hoping to see if we can get the 3rd place finisher, Alan Capers, up here into the 3-wide TV booth. And there he is, Alan Capers. Peter Short here in the 3-wide TV booth. Man, it seemed like a pretty crazy race for you tonight. It seemed like track position was ever so important. You played the strategy games a couple of times and ended up with a 3rd place finish. Tell us a little bit about your race.
And I'd love to tell you I had everything planned out and it worked out exactly. But I didn't have a damn thing planned. Got really. It was really fun tonight. Tonight was a blast, man.
Yeah, we saw drivers leaning on each other, getting 2 wide, 3 wide, and at times it looked like even 4 wide action all the way around this joint. Do you really like this type of racetrack that allows you to fan out there down the backstretch with lots of wide racing room? Because it definitely seemed like you were able to excel tonight in that number 13 truck.
Typically, no.
Well, there you go.
Track a racing.
You definitely showed that you're very capable of getting around this joint here tonight, because you're definitely pretty fast. Talk us through your call there towards the end of the race to stay out. We'd seen you do that a couple times tonight, but definitely it looked like it was the right move for you.
All season, I kind of did with everybody else. Back part of the top 10 and putting the opposite tires were, but how you drove it and kind of brake that you were. I pitted us.
Alan, just to let you know, you are breaking up just a little bit. So if you could repeat some of that, that would be awesome.
I just had a lot of excessive wear, but real happy with the result.
Yeah, definitely on a great show and equaled your best finish so far this season. You got 3rd place at back at Gateway, I do believe. So a third place here at a fairly similar racetrack, actually, believe it or not. Kind of a flat racetrack. So definitely, it seems like those are in your wheelhouse. Well, next week we do have the season finale. Are you looking forward to winding down this season and going off with one more bang? What do you think about Homestead?
It's a crapshoot for me. It could be bad, but stay out of their way for
just to let you know, you are still continuing to break up just a little bit. But yeah, definitely competing for the championship. Those championship drivers, it'll be good to see you, kind of maybe give them a little bit more room, but I'm sure you'll want to race them nice and hard because it'll definitely be a fun track. But before we let you go, you got any more shout outs for us?
Next Level Racing, man. Trustmaster. Grassroots Sim Racing. You guys. 3 wide. I guess that's about it, but thank you guys.
All right, well, that is Alan Capers, your 3rd finisher here tonight, showing us how it's done around this track with a few throws of the dice and gets away with a great finish here tonight. Thanks for joining us, Alan.
Thank you, guys.
All right, the 2nd place finisher, Kyle Zimmer, with us now. Started on the pole, led 25 laps at the beginning of the race. Definitely showed a lot of speed early on, but then got caught up in a couple of things and never was able to get that track position back till right there at the end. Kyle, tell us a little bit about your race. It definitely seemed like it was a little bit of a roller coaster ride for you, and talk us through that call to stay out with just a few laps to go.
Yeah, the race was good, and winning the pole again, and last time left, and me and AJ had a fast truck all race long. In the first 40, 50 laps, we were kind of training, turn the leader, and then we had some in midweight or lap 50 or so, and I had some issues there. You know, I had, I think, 3 bat-to-bat car issued, and I had to use quick repair there. And I decided, you know, take it easy. That was at the back, kind of work way back up, and slowly got up there. But I noticed I was kind of stuck with a couple people behind the truck, so I couldn't really pass until they cleared it. So I was kind of taking and passed one by one, and got back in the top 5. And in the last restart, I noticed I wasn't really off the time. I think I was only maybe like 10th or 14th of a second off from the fastest lap I had, so I decided it wasn't really worth it to go to pit. But at the last race, I kind of screwed up in the turn 1 and 2. I didn't use my brake as much as I should have, and then I kind of went really line out, touched it out, and kind of lost AJ basically pulled away from right there. But yeah, it was close call with Allen at the turn 3. Truck was starting to get sideways for a second, but I handled it back. I think home second, so I'm happy about that.
Absolutely. Well, Kyle, you know, I'm also sure you're excited because you will be in the Championship 4 next week at Homestead Miami Speedway, racing for the MS Ford Truck Series title. Tell us how excited you are to be in that Final 4, what it means to you to be in the Final 4, and what are your thoughts about racing at Homestead?
Yeah, I'm really excited to be part of the Final 4. Definitely going to be in Miami. It's definitely going to be a fun race, and I know last season I really struggled there, so I'm going to really work hard this track to try to give better result for it this year, as it came home second last year with the championship point. I'm really excited, you know, AJ, Dave, Kevin, and I battling for championship. It should be a fun race next week.
Absolutely. Well, I am definitely looking forward to it. It should be a lot of fun here on 3 Wide TV next Monday night. Before we let you go, you got any shout-outs for us, Kyle?
Yeah, I'd definitely like to shout out to you guys for broadcasting, and I'd definitely like to thank Rabbi Racy and Levi at the team, and I also want to thank MS4 for sponsoring the truck series, and of course Jeff, you know, created this link. Without that, this would happen, and I want to thank everyone else who participated weekend, and it's been a fun season, so looking forward for the season finale next week.
Absolutely. Well, we're all looking forward to it here on 3 Wide TV. Kyle, we thank you for stopping by, and we will see you racing for that championship next Monday night. All right. Well, I'll have to see if we can get the race winner, AJ Digby, up here. AJ Digby, Peter Short in the 3 Wide TV booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right. Win number 2 for you this season, and your second career SimPossible Series win. Getting it here tonight at Phoenix. You definitely showed the pace. You were just a fraction behind Zimmer in qualifying. Led the most laps here tonight, 61 laps led, and was definitely able to lead when it mattered the most. Talk us through your race and talk us through that call that you made to stay out, because I said you're either going to win or lose the race in that call, and you definitely won the race with that call.
Yeah, first and foremost, it was a really awesome race. Definitely some fast guys. Zimmer pulled away at the beginning, and we had some great racing. David got himself up front there towards the end and had some great racing, and Kevin and Alan and everybody, man, there was great racing all over the place, at least where I was at. But yeah, the whole night, it was just tires were big, so you wanted them, but they weren't. The track position was more important, so you had to kind of balance them out on a scale, I guess you could say. And at the very end, it was the call to stay out was the most important to keep the track position, and also knowing that a wreck was possible because people were going to go in and other people were going to stay out. So, but all in all, it was I knew I had a really good car, truck. I said last week that Phoenix is one of my better tracks. It's one of the first tracks I really started out on, and I've driven here in all sorts of cars, so I've been able to adapt and know a lot of different lines and things like that I can use, whether it be Delar Dash, this, B, A. I feel like I've driven almost any car possible. MX-5s I've driven here too, so a little bit of everything, and it was just an awesome race. Definitely was blessed, and my spotter / crew chief Kevin Vollmer was a huge help tonight in making a lot of those strategy calls, as well as telling me where I'm at on track when I'm 3 wide and possibly even 4 wide at some points on the dog leg. So, wow.
Yeah, definitely. And how good is it to finally get that proverbial monkey off your back? Because it seems like you've definitely been struggling as of late just to get a good finish.
Yeah, it was great. I had like 4 tracks circled on this schedule that I felt like were the ones that I could win. Indianapolis here, the road course. I can't remember the other one offhand. I think it was like Bristol or something. But just Indianapolis was able to do it, but didn't have the luck at the other tracks. And I've had the worst luck the last so many weeks. And last week finally was able to get a good race and get back on the podium, and that felt really good. And I'd put together some good races in official series and things like that over the last few days. So I knew I was going to be ready for it, and I was knowing that this was going to be a good track. But man, it feels good. Going to Helmstead, baby.
Absolutely, definitely a good time to hit your stride here, because like you said, next week is the championship round, Homestead, Miami. You're looking to back up your championship in the half season that we had in the MS Ford Truck Series last year with another championship. AJ, how are you going to get that championship next week?
Championships rely on a little bit of everything. You got to have the pace, you got to be fast, you got to get a little bit of clean air, you got to get a little bit of luck too as well. So a lot can happen in that race, and really anything can happen. There are so many fast guys, and the final 4 are full of really good guys. So it'll be a fight no matter what. I'm glad and lucky that I'm able to be a part of the final 4. Hopefully I have a chance to back it up, but last year I just had good quality finishes and not a win, and then this season I got 2 wins under my belt, and so at the very least I can walk away feeling a little bit more accomplished with that. But obviously we're going to be going for the championship. Got to get the good strategy calls, and yeah, just hope that you have a good race.
Absolutely. Well, we're definitely looking forward to it here on 3Wide TV. Before we let you go, give us those shout-outs, because we know you have some.
Again, huge thanks to Kevin Vollmer, my spotter, my crew chief, also my paint artist. That Zulu Motorsports machine is beautiful, and I was able to keep it clean and up front pretty much the whole day. So huge thanks to him first and foremost. The rest of my Zulu guys, I know that they watch and cheer on. And then Jeff for putting on this great league, and everybody in it for putting on great racing, and you guys for being able to broadcast that great racing.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you for putting on great races.
Sorry, lastly, I'm seeing in the comments, Cameron Rich, I know you weren't here tonight, but thank you for being a little spectator cheering me on as well. But yeah, all right, that's all that.
Absolutely, AJ. Thank you for joining us here tonight, and we'll see you next week racing for the MS Ford Truck Series title. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you very much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's your race winner, AJ Digby. And now we go down to talk to league organizer Jeff Schmidt. And we have Jeff up here in the 3Wide TV booth. Jeff, and it's been a long season, but we got only 1 race left. And it's going to be awesome to see next week who the MS Ford Truck Series champion is. And tell us a little bit about that race.
Yeah, it's a do or die situation, and we got 4 drivers that are going to be going for that hot spot. So, you know, we see a lot of guys do great all season, and you know, obviously the 4 have to be in the position they have, even though some of them don't really have the wins to reflect it. But this race is going to become it's going to come down to who's going to win it, or to who's going to be ahead of the other 3. So it's really a whole different scenario when you go to Homestead and race for a championship than it is any other race. You're going there to win it, or you're going there to at least show your dominance somehow to be ahead of the other guys, or you're going to wing it, do something with fuel strategy, tire strategy, something to try to get that track position and finish out. But it's going to be interesting. And right now we got AJ Digby, Dave Wilson, Kyle Zimmer, and Kevin Cochran will be your 4 drivers going to Homestead fighting for that championship.
Yeah, Jeff, you took the words right out of my mouth, because those 4 drivers definitely have put on a clinic this season, definitely had some awesome finishes, very consistent finishes, and have been able to show us how it's done. But tonight's race is just an indication of that fact. I mean, we've had Dave Wilson leading for a little bit, Kyle Zimmer led for a little bit, Kevin Cochran, who was always up around the top 5 tonight, and of course AJ Digby getting the win. I mean, those 4 drivers will definitely put on a show next week. But you know, the racing here tonight was absolutely awesome. I mean, we saw some great side-by-side racing. What was your take?
Oh, yeah. Put the chase aside for tonight's race. I agree. For a second at least, let's appreciate tonight's race. It was amazing, man. I was going in the cockpits of some of these guys to watch exactly what they were seeing during this race, and there was some amazing racing tonight. Groups of guys being able to race that close with each other cleanly at a track like Phoenix, it just speaks volumes of how well everyone's gotten to know each other and how well they've adapted to each other and whatnot. Just really awesome to see. Everyone's gotten better and better, and it's fun to watch everyone be able to race faster and smarter and better than ever.
Absolutely. They've definitely been putting on a better and better show as the season has gone on. It's been great to see the league progress. It's gained drivers throughout the season. 16 drivers started the race here tonight, and definitely they all put on a great show, great side-by-side action, and some beating and banging. And in the end, we got the finish we're all hoping for with a pretty exciting last few laps. Well, Jeff, before we let you go, I know you got some shout-outs, but any other further things that you want to say before you give those shout-outs?
Well, if you are a disabled driver or know of a disabled driver that would like to join a league like ours to come out and race and not be necessarily at all pinpointed for what you have or what you are, instead just race and have a good time with everyone else, go to SimPossibleRacing.com, fill out a driver sign up form, and join us on track. Yeah, I'll give my shout outs now as well. Thanks to MS Forward and Daryl Cachero with MSForward.org. They've been such an amazing help with our MS Forward Truck Series, which is what this is, and someone's going to be crowned a MS Forward Truck Series champion next week, Monday. So tune in to watch who that's going to be. We have no idea. It's going to be interesting, no doubt about it. Daryl has done an amazing job helping us out, and yeah, we can't thank him enough. Go to msforward.org and check them out. Skylar Allen has helped us out with many things with Go Fast Racing League, and even Glenn Sidman with SimAbility. Got to give a shout out to Glenn, being in contact with us and trying to help out however he can, and it's been amazing talking with him back and forth as well. So all we want to do is help people and progress people in what they want to do in iRacing and have a good platform to do it. So we've done an amazing job so far, and we're truly blessed.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you for joining us here tonight, Jeff, and we'll see you next week, I'm sure, for the season finale at Homestead, Miami.
Absolutely. Have a great night. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that will just about wrap it up from here in the desert. Before we let you go, we will go over the finishing results. And like we said, AJ Digby will punch his way into Homestead, Miami with a win here tonight, a second win on the season. Kyle Zimmer will also punch his way to Homestead, Miami. Alan Capers equaling his season best finish of 3rd place. Kevin Paskowicz in the number 7 machine. Good run for him all night long. Wasn't quite able to get up front at the end, but he comes home with 4th. Kevin Cochran, another one of the championship drivers next week at Homestead, Miami. He comes home 5th. Doug McCollum, 33, finishes in the 6th position. Brian Lowhead, 7th. Eric Minch, 8th. Nate Catilla was your bubble driver coming into the race tonight. Not quite able to get that finish he needed to secure that championship berth. He will be the first driver out of that championship round next week. Dave Wilson finishes in the 10th position in the number 20 machine. We saw him up front towards the end. Made the wrong call there and unfortunately finishes in 10th. Christopher Burge finishes 11th. Fernando Matos, we saw him stuck inside a wall briefly. He finishes in the 12th position. Johnny Berardi, he finishes 13th. Billy Wise, Thomas Wise, Matthew Lesniewski all started the race but did not finish. Mark Digman DNS and finishes in 17th. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have an absolute spectacular race lined up for you. 4 drivers will be competing for the MS Ford Truck Series Championship in 1 week's time here on 3Y TV. Make sure you come back to figure out whether it will be Digby, Wilson, Zimmer, or Cochran in 1 week's time. Who will it be? You'll wait to find out.